These after Michael's introductions. Just in case anybody was going to arrive a little late. So I'd like to introduce as well some people who are here with us today, and thank you again for joining us. From the Board of Directors, obviously Michael Gaskell, myself, Jackie Reeves, obviously Troy McClellan. On the Directors side, obviously Will Fleming, thank you for joining us. We have Ethan Shapiro, obviously, but we'll be hearing from him shortly, and also Ron Wishkowitz from Boca area. And obviously, thank you everyone here this morning for this lovely breakfast and for hosting us here this morning. And then next, we have a list of things to look through. Committee chairs, ambassadors, John McClaskey from Leading Edge Mortgage Corp. Thank you. Our Economic Development Committee Chair, Constance Scott, Director of the Local Relations at FAU. The other thing I'd obviously like to mention about Constance is she's a candidate for the Boca City Council, so thank you for your potential service. We also have a committee chair for our Tourism Committee, Barbara Cambia from Lynn University. Barbara, thank you. She is also my past colleague from our Leadership Boca days and bandmate, so thank you for joining us. And then also Vice Mayor and Commissioner Robert Weinroth, thank you for your service. And then from our school board, Frank Barbieri. Frank, thank you for your service. I saw Andy. Maybe I went right by Andy. So, Boca Raton City Council member Andy Thompson. I think that is it. If I left anybody off, please come up. Thank you, and we will now have breakfast served, and we will be back with you in a few moments. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. I know that you're enjoying each other's company. You haven't done it probably in a while, face to face. We've got a really awesome program ahead of us here, and we want to begin with that. So, good morning, and along with Chairman Gaskell and Chair-elect Reeves, and Board Member Shapiro, the whole board. We have a board meeting, I think, up here at that table. There's so many leaders. Welcome to our second in-person breakfast in a row. Raise your hand if you were here. Thank you. Raise your hand if you were here in December. Excellent. So we've got some good repeat visitors. Clearly, there's a need and a desire to want to get together. As you can see, we're doing it in an appropriate, safe way. And so, thank you for being here this morning and being a part of our organization, but this morning a very special program by a very special school and institution in our community, led by very special people, so we appreciate that. I wanted to recognize, we have a judge, a St. Andrews alumnus judge, Simone Rowe, right here, went to St. Andrews, and she's a judge for the 15th Judicial Court. Is that right? Simone, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Also wanted to recognize Constance Scott once again. Jackie mentioned Constance has served on our city council before. She's been working and doing a great job for us at Florida Atlantic University in a community in public relations. Constance is running again. She still has just a ton of juice in that tank. I think she has more energy now than she did when she was serving us on city council. And we're so excited. The Chamber's Political Action Committee, Blue PAC, has endorsed Constance for her re-election. Yes, really a much applause. And so that election on March 9th is going to come fast, like so many things, but you'll hear from us more about it as we get along. But we are very fortunate to have Constance want to serve our community in that capacity again, and we got to get her on that council, so please remember to get out and vote. On that day, tell your friends. But Constance, thanks for being here this morning. We appreciate it, and we're going to get you back on council. Also wanted to just have any new members that have just joined, relatively new members, stand up. Just want to see if you're a relative. There you go. Give them a big round of applause. Pepper them around. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. And thank you for being here this morning, and thank you for your membership. We very much appreciate that. So this morning, we've got a great program. We've got music, we've got seniors graduating, we've got the head of schools, all sorts of cool stuff about St. Andrews. But we have to thank St. Andrews for what they do for this community, for economic development, for how Boca Raton is positioned in the nation, potentially in the globe, when it comes to private education. So thank you, Ethan, and everyone involved, Will, and everybody down there. Thank you so much for what you do, not just on your beautiful campus, but for what you do for this community. So can we please give Ethan and Team St. Andrews a great round of applause. And it was almost 2 years ago today, right, that Ethan accepted a permanent, man, that went by quick, 2 years, position of head of schools, and so that just made us even luckier. Anytime we get a New Hampshire guy coming down to South Florida permanently, this is good news for us, for sure. And now, as Chairman Dasko mentioned, he's now on our board of directors, so the news just keeps getting better and better the more I read my comments here this morning. But Ethan, thank you for your leadership. And not only that, St. Andrews School has been a critical supportive partner and sponsor of our Young Entrepreneurs Academy. Raise your hand if you're familiar with our Young Entrepreneurs Academy. A little more than half. It's a program we've been running now for 10 years, and we take students in grades 6 through 12, and many, we've got a great list of alumni from St. Andrews that have gone through the program. We teach them how to become an entrepreneur through a 20-week program. Right now it's virtual, but normally the classes are held at the Entrepreneur Cohen Center Pavilion on the campus of St. Andrews, and we can't wait to get back there, so thank you for that. And speaking of yay, the annual CEO Roundtable and Elevator Pitch is actually next Wednesday the 20th. It is going to be on Zoom, but these kids are amazing. Again, many of them, or some of them this year from St. Andrews, will pitch their business, and so if you have a chance to hop on that, please do. You won't be disappointed. And as Chairman Dasko said, yes, we're doing this. We're coming back together slowly, deliberately, meaningfully, because clearly there is a demand and a desire to want to do that. But we will still continue to deliver plenty of virtual events as well. Our committees, our ambassadors, some of our groups, we have virtual. So if you want to come into the boardroom and be together, we've got that opportunity. We have the technology in the boardroom then to allow your colleagues in that committee or that group to hop on virtually. So we're getting there, and hopefully sooner than later there'll be more people in the boardroom and less people on Zoom. But we're moving in the right direction. And also, I think Chairman Dasko mentioned our app. Raise your hand if you have the Boca Chamber app. That's not bad. But before everyone leaves today, if you don't have to, go on the Apple Store, Google Play, download the Boca Chamber app. It's a great tool for you to stay connected with us right at your fingertips. You won't miss a thing. And lastly for me, before I turn it back over to Jackie, I want to talk about a couple of initiatives that the Boca Chamber is involved with that is very critical to business. One is COVID-19 liability protection. So many of you are working hard. You're either back in your office, you're keeping your store open however you can, and it's really important as we move forward that there's some protection for your business. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're keeping your employees safe, you're keeping your customers safe, but what's going to happen if there's some crazy frivolous lawsuits out there that we don't want to happen? So we're working hard with the Florida Chamber and local chambers across the state to try to make sure we get some really solid legislation in this session coming up this year in March to make sure that you've got that protection, so you don't have to worry. The last thing you don't have to worry about. The last thing you want to worry about is some crazy lawsuit that could bring your business down. So we're working hard for you on that as well. The second initiative that we're going to work with the legislature on is the internet sales tax. So, so often we have, customers will go into a brick and mortar store, try something on, go home and order it online. And then, of course, we're not getting the benefit of the sales tax. This is an ongoing item on the Boca Chamber's legislative agenda. It's getting some traction this year, and I'm hoping that we're going to see some legislation coming out of the session as well. But again, we've got to make sure we level the playing field for our brick and mortar stores here, and we hope that'll do that. So just a couple, you'll hear more about it. I'll talk more about it. Please do read my CEO message every Tuesday and Friday morning. Right after this, we'll get busy writing more for tomorrow morning and try to provide you with pertinent, relevant information to help you in your business and in your life perhaps at a time. So please stay engaged, continue to communicate with us on whatever you want so we can continue to deliver value. So again, thank you everybody for being here today. Ethan, thank you, and Team St. Andrews for your partnership, your support, and let's have a healthy and prosperous 2021. Thanks everybody.
Thank you, Troy. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their breakfast. It is now my pleasure to introduce our sponsor spotlight, and Ethan Shapiro, head of School of St. Andrews. Mr. Shapiro became the interim head, as Troy mentioned, at St. Andrews School in July of 2017, and was named the school's 10th head of school beginning January 1st of 2019. During his time at St. Andrews, he is focusing on delivering the school's mission of developing every child in mind, body, and spirit. Ethan has over 35 years of independent school experience, 29 years serving Phillips Exeter Academy in Exeter, New Hampshire, where he worked in various administrative, academic, and coaching roles, including Dean of Faculty, Director of Summer School, Dean of Students, Russian language and history instructor, resident life faculty, and varsity wrestling coach. Very diversified. He was also a history teacher at the Fay School in Southborough, Massachusetts. During his academic tenure, he received numerous honors, including the Rupert Radford Faculty Fellowship Award, Harlan G. Ellis Instructorship, and Phillips Exeter Faculty Prize. Over his career, Ethan has led work on strategic plans, academic and curriculum matters, faculty management and recruitment initiatives, capital campaigns, resident life training, reporting laws, and budget management. He earned the respect of his professional colleagues for his intellect, leadership, organization, and his undying commitment to students and faculty. Ethan received a BA in history from Colby College and MA in Russian language and literature from Millbury College. He lives on campus at St. Andrews and is the proud parent of 5, ranging from high school to college years. It is my pleasure to welcome Ethan to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie and Troy and Michael and Will and everybody that's here this morning. That Rupert Radford Faculty Prize probably impressed a lot of people, I'm sure. That's a blast from the past. It's really a pleasure to be here. As I say every year in January when we host the Chamber Breakfast, our relationship with the Boca Chamber of Commerce is critical for us as a school, and we're really proud of it. We're proud to be associated with the Chamber. Now I'm proud to be a part of the Chamber as a member of the board. I'm really excited about that. The highlight of this morning is going to be hearing from our student, Ellie Timor, who's also a New Hampshire person. It's like New Hampshire Day at Fenway Park, Troy. That's going to be the highlight. I was asked to talk for a few minutes at what it's like to lead a school through a pandemic. The Chamber is about business. The school is a kind of business. We're a not-for-profit business. I'm sure everybody sitting in this room has his or her own story about the challenges and the opportunities and the trials and the tribulations and the difficulties of the last 10 months. And we do too at St. Andrews School. And what I thought I'd do is take just a few minutes and tell you what it's been like for us briefly and how we've address the challenges that we faced and sort of where we think we found success and where we still have opportunities to do more and do better. Because for all of us, I think our whole world's just got turned upside down sometime between February and March of last year. We went on spring break, I can't even remember, I think it was March 13th of last year, and we never came back to campus, right? We had 2 weeks of spring break when we were off. During that time, the governor shut down all schools, public and private, for the first 15 days of April, and then sometime towards the middle of April said schools would go virtual for the rest of the academic year. So our kids went on break March 13th, I think was a Friday, and then never came back to classes for the rest of that school year. So, you know, basically in terms of my comments, I'll talk a little bit about those first few months when we were virtual, and then really focus on what we did to get ready for this year. Because when we first shut down, I mean, and we had about a month where we were thinking as an administrative team, sort of from mid-February or early February to mid-March, hey, this could get bad, right? We didn't know exactly what was going to happen or when or how, but we were beginning to talk about what are we going to do? And I'll be honest, that was like full-out crisis mode for us, because we're not experts in just delivering distance learning education, right? We hadn't done it before. Most traditional brick and mortar schools don't do it. There are obviously online high schools. Florida has a great one, but that wasn't us. And so our mindset was, let's figure this out. Let's keep it simple, right? That KISS acronym, right? Let's keep it simple. Let's do the very best we can. Let's try not to complicate things, simplify everything, and really not burden either our teachers or our students with all kinds of new things. Get through the end of the year. And that's what we did. And I think we did a really good job. One of the things we're really interested in is using data. Schools are, you know, traditionally aren't the most nimble, flexible, or data-driven organizations. We have begun, like a lot of schools have, to try and use data. We did surveys of our students as we got towards the end of last school year, and we found that they were pretty supportive of what we were doing and how we were trying to do it last spring. We also got helpful, constructive criticism from various elements of the community, which we used to improve on the things we were doing. So last year was really about, let's get to the end of the school year. But even before the school year ended, probably starting in about April of last year, we started getting even more paranoid and anxious and nervous about, boy, what's going to happen with this pandemic, with this virus? What are we going to be able to do in the summer? We had decisions to make about the summer. We have summer school. We ended up saying that'll be all virtual. We have a really big summer camp program at St. Andrew's School that delivers quite a bit of revenue for our operating budget. And like all of you that have budgets to make and, you know, businesses to run and employees to pay, we were really worried about that. We shut down our summer camp. We couldn't do it. We couldn't figure out how to do it. We didn't also want to take a whole bunch of resources and put them into the summer camp and draw resources away from trying to prepare for the next school year. So we just cut it out, as did almost all of our peer camps. That cost us a lot of revenue. So again, you know, trying to figure out what we're going to do with the budget. But we focused all our attention on how we were going to go into this school year. And again, there's no playbook for this pandemic, right? And I'm sure in all your businesses you found the same thing. I have over 35 years of experience in independent schools. I've never had to deal with a pandemic, nor has anyone else, nor have any of the really great and experienced heads of schools or consultants or organizations like the Florida Council of Independent Schools or the National Association of Independent Schools. Nobody had experience with this. So everybody's scrambling at the same time. All of our senior leadership were on seminars and webinars and how to do this and that, but literally 4, 5, 6 times a week for admissions or for residential life or for lower school or middle school or academic programming or the business offices. All of us were learning as we went, and we were learning with our colleagues from across the state and across the country. And one of the cool things that started to happen was sort of people started to coalesce around big ideas about what we should do and how we should do it. Not detail and specific things, but big picture things. And one of those things was scenario planning, right? We have to scenario plan, and at the end of the day, we sort of plan for 2 or 3 scenarios. One would be, we're not going to be able to be in person, we're going to have to be distance learning all year with all our students. Another was, we are going to be able to have some amount of our students on campus, but we might have to toggle back and forth between being open and being shut. And a third was, which is the most complicated, which is where we are right now, which is some of our students might be virtual and some of our students might be in person, right? That's the most difficult scenario to deal with. It's the most challenging for faculty, and it's the most challenging from an organizational perspective. And you know, I would go to all these, as I said, webinars and seminars, all from really April through now, and you know, people would always say, well, you should read these books. Here, you know, some of you have probably heard of the book Great by Choice, right? Read that, learn how to be great by choice. Profiting from Uncertainty, that was another one. And my favorite, Productive Paranoia. I didn't read it, I didn't feel like I had to. I felt like my paranoia was plenty productive for me. As we planned, there were really 2 major things we were looking at. One was the health and safety of how we were going to be able to open a school for in-person learning. And the other was how we were going to deliver high-quality academics, deliver on our mission to students on campus and to students who were going to be learning off campus. And we made some really good choices right away on the academic end. And I don't see my dean of faculty or my director of studies or my heads of each of the divisions in the audience here today because they're too busy working, but they made really good choices about, again, simplifying and not trying to say we're going to learn all kinds of new technology or invest millions of dollars in technology that our faculty didn't understand how to use or work with. We really focused in on the technologies that we had, which was sort of Google Classroom and Google Suite, which worked for us, and maximizing everybody's ability to deliver on that. And so we faced this challenge with our faculty where they have 10-month contracts. They don't have to work in the summer, right? But we had to give them the opportunity to learn how to do all this new kind of instructional direction in a way that they could absorb over the summer if they wanted to, but if they didn't, they were going to be able to come back in early to mid-August and figure it out. So there was a lot of work that went into that. Teachers, even great teachers, are used to kind of doing their own thing. They're not used to having to relearn something at age whatever it is, 35, 45, 55, 65. And our faculty did an awesome job with that. They really rose to the challenge. I think the thing that I worried about the most was being able to keep our employees and our students safe on our campus. For our students and families, I knew they were going to have a choice, right? And we ended up giving them a choice, and they've had a choice all year. If they want to come to in-person learning, they could do it. If they wanted to be at home, they could do it. We didn't give our employees a choice, right? We said, you've got to come into school and you've got to work. And so the thing that made me the most nervous and gave me the most anxiety and stress was, are we going to be able to keep people safe on our campus? And for those of you that are running businesses that feel that responsibility for people, it's not easy, right? And we've never really faced that before. And we have, knock on wood, right? We have. So to date, this isn't bragging, this is just reciting the facts. We have had no spread of COVID-19 on our campus. When we were getting ready to open school in August, we did a poll of our employees in an anonymous survey and asked them a bunch of questions. And one of the things they were worried about, are you going to be able to keep us safe? Will the students go by the rules? There was a lot of talk about rules, you know, mask wearing or social distancing or washing your hands or doing all these things. And I won't go into all the details, but I give so much credit to our faculty and all our employees. I give equal credit to our students and to our parents, because the kids have been absolutely awesome on campus. If you were to come and see our campus today, walk through it, see what's going on, you would see kids from little pre-K kids up through seniors in high school that are excited to be on campus, happy to be there, dealing with the restrictions that have to be in place to keep us safe, and keeping up the spirit of the school. So I couldn't be happier. I will say it was super stressful. It's still super stressful. We work hard every day. We take nothing for granted. But I also like to see what the silver linings are, and I think there's so many really good lessons that we've learned, including things that we've learned that we can use going forward when there's not a pandemic anymore. So I'm so proud of everybody in our organization. Our admin, our senior admin had 3 days off, really had 3 days off from like March until Thanksgiving break. And we just pushed and pushed and pushed and got it done. So really proud of all of them. I'm gonna turn it over now to what will be the best part of the morning, and that's hearing from a St. Andrews student. There's any number of students we could obviously pick to speak to you all today. The one we picked is as high a representation of what we like to think we stand for and what we think we do on our school as there could possibly be, right? Ellie Timor of New Hampshire. And not just because she's from New Hampshire. And she's just a terrific kid. And there's so many things I could say and list all her accomplishments, but I won't do that because it's just going to distract and take away from who she is and what she does. If she's an excellent high achiever in everything she does, put all that aside for a minute, she's even better as a person and a human being, which is what we're trying to inspire and develop in all our students. And when you have people like that around, they say a rising tide floats all boats. Well, Ellie is part of that rising tide on our campus, part of a long tradition of excellence at St. Andrews. We have, just like Samani Rohinkle and others that are sitting in this audience that are St. Andrews alums. She is terrific. She represents the school in the best possible way. She's going to go on and have a great future. She's going to college, actually, in New Hampshire, which is very important. She can tell you a little bit about that. So with no further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Ellie. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Mr. Shapiro. Good morning, Boca Chamber members and guests. My name is Ellie Tamoric, and I'm a senior at St. Andrews. I am honored to be here today and so grateful for the opportunity to be speaking to you all. I'm also immensely grateful to have attended St. Andrews School. My experiences on campus have shaped me into the person I am off campus as well, in ways entirely reflective of our school motto, mind, body, and spirit. So let me tell you my story. As someone who began St. Andrews in kindergarten, I am what is called a lifer. This label couldn't be more true, with so much of my life having been spent at and rooted in the unique and supportive community I am lucky enough to call my school. While traditionally sports may be associated with the body portion of mind, body, spirit, my experiences with St. Andrews Athletics have significantly nurtured all three of these attributes. If you asked me 7 years ago what sport I played, I would have told you soccer. The answer would have been pretty sure, partly confident, probably less so in the face of the common follow-up question, are you any good? I played for Sabre and then the St. Andrews team, but thought it was really fun. However, I am thankful that I was convinced to try cross-country and track in middle school. One thing led to another, and now I am known more or less as the runner girl. And not just because I can often be found running from one place to another thanks to an always busy schedule. I still remember the mixture of sweat and nerves walking from the middle school to the track pavilion for the first time in 7th grade when I hesitantly approached the team of what surely couldn't be high school runners. Each looked not only at least a foot taller than me, but also considerably more mature and experienced. As cliche as it sounds, this track team would quickly become my family, and I would call girls I met on that very first day my best friends, even now as some are in college. Swept into the varsity team, track practices became the highlight of my middle school weeks, and some of my favorite high school memories remain meets, especially the team meals that came after. Leadership shown by veteran runners then still inspires me to be a more confident leader now. As two-year cross-country team captain, I constantly think about the valuable guidance and support I received long ago, and am thankful for the girls on the team who immediately took me under their wings to make my transition to high school 100 times smoother. Freshman year, head cross-country coach and one of the most influential people during my time at St. Andrews, Coach John O'Connell, told me I would break 20 minutes in the 5K and go to states. I will never forget the moment I looked at my coach like he was crazy, but trusted that he saw more in me than I ever thought myself. That year, I ran a personal best of 19:02 for 15th place at states. Year after year, the same unwavering support has never ceased to motivate and develop both my running abilities and approach to everything I do. It is still surreal to be able to say that I have not only run a personal best of 17 minutes and 46 seconds my junior year, but also won the 2A state championship title this past fall under Coach O'Connell's steadfast guidance. His belief in me echoes that of my teachers and everyone at St. Andrews, who all see so much potential in every one of us. I have found that St. Andrews is unique for its well-rounded perspective that honor students can be athletes and athletes can be honor students. Last year, I practically lived my IB biology extra help, bugging Mr. Campanera with endless questions to make sure that I was 110% prepared for the coming assessment. My teacher never ran out of answers, patience, and jokes, and made sure we had the most complete understanding of challenging concepts. I feel lucky to take AP courses from teachers who understand that we have busy schedules and who are willing to accommodate if we have to miss class for, say, a track meet or a Harvard Model Congress conference. One standout memory is my junior year AP Spanish teacher, Senora Orr, who made an exception to her rigid no comida en la clase policy, allowing me to eat after having to sprint from morning practice to the showers to first period. However, even more importantly, teachers still have high expectations because they know that we will go above and beyond the work required to reach them, even if there's the occasional complaining along the way. Similarly, I am able to participate in performing arts, with my supportive honors band director even making an appearance at some races. You can find me and my teammates huddled over notebooks in between events at long, late-night meets, as the athletes at St. Andrews are not solely there for the success of the sports programs. Coaches care about all aspects of our lives, taking the time to ask each of us how life is going, on the track, in the classroom, and outside of school. After getting a feel for the multitude of clubs, organizations, and leadership opportunities, my sophomore year I decided to run for the Honor Council. I continue to understand and identify with our school's core value of honor, helping to instill it through education and enforcement. As another microcosm of the St. Andrews community, I am lucky to work with fellow senior members on the Honor Council who are willing to do the difficult task of upholding the ideas that build the honest, ethical, moral character and strong work ethic of St. Andrews students. Of course, as many parents here today know well, learning how to prioritize and balance sports, school, extracurricular, and social commitments is essential preparation for college, jobs, and life in the future. I try my best to make the most out of all available opportunities, often overflowing my planner with small, color-coded bursts of commitments and to-dos. Wake up at 5 a.m. for morning practice, Honor Council meeting before school, 2 quizzes, club leadership meetings, strength training, answering emails, practicing my instrument, homework, and finding time in between to, eat, shower, sleep. Not all days and nights look like this, but more often than not, I surprise myself with how much can be packed into each day. Though there exists the occasional mini breakdown, lack of sleep, and feeling of being completely overwhelmed, I have learned how to manage stress, create a schedule that works, and flexibly adapt to inevitable changes in plans. Naturally, my time at St. Andrews has also seen lows within the highlight reel I have described. Many struggles in past years have knocked me down time and time again, just for me to get up, learn, and grow. Just over a year ago, I was shocked to learn that a stress fracture would end my junior year track season before it had even begun. Soon after, we all realized COVID-19 would sideline virtual all spring sports, a huge disappointment for so many athletes. My injury was admittedly the biggest setback that I had ever faced, mentally and physically, especially in the middle of the most important time for college athletic recruiting. With similar focus demanded in tough workouts, I remained patient and motivated in my recovery. As I aquajogged, I would visualize goals like coming through the finish at states and first, just as I would attack a math problem, scribble, erase, and reattempt. I am grateful for the kindness I was shown during my injury, such as a teacher holding the door as I hopped with a heavy backpack, water bottle, and one strong leg. While I may sometimes be known as the runner girl, while I was injured and could not run, I was reminded of the importance of balance and deepening other interests in mind, body, and spirit. Of course, the obviously immense, seemingly never-ending impacts of COVID-19 have made things different and more complicated. I am grateful for the relentless commitment of the athletic, academic, and safety departments to create the best possible school experience during these times. From hybrid and socially distanced learning to safety measures allowing us to practice and compete in sports, I appreciate every moment I am able to have in my senior year. One can imagine that one of the most difficult classes to maintain in the COVID era would be band. A tightly packed room of kids producing noise, as well as spit, from instruments. Yet, every other day, you can still find me in one of the now separate music rooms, trombone in hand, now accessorized with a black covering, 6 feet apart from my fellow low brass members. Facing a screen of the rest of our group online, rather than our instructor who teaches safely from behind, I am able to see my classmate at his respective music stand all the way in China. I never expected to be playing chords simultaneously, though it is 12 p.m. in Boca and 12 a.m. there. What I think is the truest example of hybrid learning is showcased in our low brass choir music, Lieto Gordea, which I am excited for you all to watch today. Without St. Andrews, it is hard for me to believe that I would be standing here as a future member of the Dartmouth class of 2025. Fall of my junior year, I entered the whirlwind of the recruiting process under Coach O'Connell's expertise and, despite my injury, was fortunate to have interest from a variety of schools. Last August, on the phone in excited disbelief, I told my future coach that I was fully committed to running and studying at Dartmouth College. While Hanover is quite far from Boca Raton, and really any civilization within a 100-mile radius, I will be leaving from one beautiful campus to another in the middle of the woods. While leaving the place I've called home for 13 years will undoubtedly prove difficult, my experiences at St. Andrews will leave me feeling prepared and looking forward to all Dartmouth has to offer. It often shocks people to learn that I've only ever attended one school. While I have never known anything different, the small size, community culture, positive atmosphere, and opportunities to excel in so many areas are just a few of the reasons why St. Andrews has been a perfect fit for me. I am confident that the lessons learned, relationships developed, moments of both success and struggle, all form an integral foundation for whatever my future holds. I cannot thank my parents, teachers, coaches, and everyone who has supported me enough for being such influential parts of this crazy ride of my 13 years at St. Andrews. And I'm grateful to you all for listening to me ramble on about my deep appreciation and love for the place I have been incredibly fortunate to call my second home for the majority of my life. Thank you, and go Scots.
Thank you again so much. That was inspiring, and good luck in college. You're going to have a wonderful time. I do believe that we are going to have the video. So now we do have a special treat. We do have the St. Andrews School Upper School Brass Band has produced a video playing Gabrielle's Lido Cadella. In the video, the students are playing from campus at their homes throughout Palm Beach County and all the world simultaneously. Gabrielle is one of the foremost composers, originally socially distanced music. For this performance, the student musicians formed two opposing choirs spread across the front of the school chapel, similar to how Gabrielle might have done it in the 1500s. The musical lines exchange and intertwine in a complex yet complementary manner by utilizing the space and acoustics in between each musician. So this will be a treat. Thank you. That was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I don't know about all of you, but during COVID, obviously, so many things have changed, and the music that has come to us from all across the world in so many different formats. I've seen some things where people are playing on their balconies in Paris and just all over the world, sharing their music in every way they possibly can. And it's just that creativity that has just truly been inspiring through all of this. So that's been a blessing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us here at the breakfast this morning. Thank you again to St. Andrew. And everybody enjoy your day and have a wonderful week. Thank you.